MashaAllah, we are quickly approaching the month of Ramadan, the month of fasting. And I just wanted to go through some of the ayat mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah about fasting, starting with the first one. O you who believe, fasting has been made obligatory upon you, as it has been made obligatory upon those before you, so that you may achieve taqwa. So the first concept of the ayah, obviously, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the believers in telling us previously the nations fasted like we are going to fast. Right, to show that there's a sense of competition, inshallah, to that we can be the best ummah. As-siyam, fasting, literally means to withhold or to hold back. Islamically, it's to hold back from eating, drinking, and the sexual desires or actions from the dawn until sunset. Getting in this concept of fasting is very important to start from now. The Prophet ﷺ was seen to have fasted most of the month of Sha'ban, and many of the companions and the Salaf al-Salih used to also increase in their fasting and their ibadat. Just like a marathon, inshallah, when you want to go, you don't just go cold and run in and start your first time, but you build up to it. With any type of endeavor, you always want to prepare the best you can for it. And this is one of the greatest endeavors for a Muslim, the month of Ramadan. So fasting, the concept of fasting is withholding. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us that if we can withhold from something that is halal for us, we can withhold from that which is haram for us. So the key point in the mindset of fasting is to abstain from those things that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet ﷺ, he told us, if a person does not leave foul language or foul actions, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of him leaving their food and their drink. Basically teaching us that we can withhold from these things that are halal, even more so we should be abstaining from the haram. And the Prophet ﷺ also told us that fasting is achieving the concept of sabr, of patience. That a person who is fasting, if it's when you're fasting, you should not misspeak or use bad language or have bad actions or raise your voice in screaming. And if somebody yells at you or wants to fight with you or curses you, you should tell them, I am fasting, right? Showing the restraint, withholding that Allah is teaching us in fasting. And there are many secrets of fasting that, subhanAllah, help us to achieve a high level of spirituality. The most basic of fasting is leaving, the obligatory things that we're supposed to refrain from. And then the higher level is to start refraining from the excesses of speaking too much or sleeping too much or wasting time too much or keeping bad company, and trying to increase our devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our recitation of the Quran. The highest level is the one who is completely devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khasat al-khas, the most special of the special, where they completely shut off and focus their full time as much as they can in worshipping Allah and getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this concept today was about siyam, som. Inshallah, next one we'll talk about is taqwa. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.